Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Teach my heart to impart everywhere your delight. Sing of moon rays on the rain, sing that love's not in vain. Every grief, every wrong has its ending in song. Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Teach all men how to spin clouds of gloom into light. Without silence, what is song? Without night, where is dawn? Were it not for men's woes, who would smile at our rose? Nightingale, nightingale, sing of joy through the night. Let each stone silence groan, earth and heaven unite. Morning laughter, evening tears, snow and blossoms all fade. Joy must sing in the night to face change unafraid. Nightingale, nightingale, nightingale.
Good evening, everyone. It's a joy to be here with you today. I'll start with today's Gita reading. It is number 618 and 619. When the chitta, feeling, is completely calmed and centered in the self, the yogi, freed from every attachment and desire, attains the state known as union with God. And 619, a candle flame burns steadily, protected from the wind. Even so is the consciousness of that yogi who has subdued his chitta, feelings. So, since this reading is a lot about feeling and chitta, I thought let's start, just go back to that moment when we first came to Ananda. Maybe for some of you it's your first time right now. And that works too because just go back to that moment when you first walked into Ananda or found these teachings, maybe heard the music, maybe read the autobiography of a yogi, whatever it was. The first thing that we do, it's probably, even if there was a wonderful speaker who gave a very profound speech or a beautiful talk, or even if it is the temple, which is very uplifting environment, this beautiful altar, it's probably something underlying all that you remember, that really touched you, isn't it? It's a feeling that you felt inside you when you first came. And I think if we all think about it for a moment, we can go to that feeling right away. It's this this relaxation. And when we think, what is that feeling? What is that? It's a vibration that's underlying all these teachings, all that we share here, all that we do here when we come together. Just last week, again, a few of us were commenting, it's just so wonderful because it's so great that we have satsang. Because we come together, we get into that feeling again. And so what is that vibration? What is that feeling? And if we think about it, it's that deep sense of stillness that you feel. And you feel it in your heart, right? It's a sense of joy. And it's not like a joy you've probably ever experienced that comes from, I got something new and it's a joy. It's a very deep sort of a divine joy. It's your heart opens. It's a love. It's a divine love. your heart expands. You want to share it with all. We go home. I remember going home and telling my parents, you have to come and see this place. And they were kind of like, but they came because of my enthusiasm. But all of us feel that expansion of we just want everyone to feel it. And it's because it's a feeling more than the intellect. And even yesterday, some of us went for a kirtan to a devotee's home. They invited all of us. And we were singing some of the chants there. And they were just, at the end of it, a few of them were sharing. And one lady, I think it was her first time of meeting all of us or even being exposed to all this. And I just remember she was just saying, thank you so much for coming. I mean, I just feel such positive vibrations. You all are so positive. And that was her feeling right away. And isn't it so, like, even if we share the music, I know recently in corporates we have shared the music of Swamiji, and right away they feel it. They know it's something special. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to think about it. It just touches the heart. When we go to schools, wherever we go, these chants. And thinking about it, why is this music so special? Why is Swamiji's music, why does it touch us so deeply? And I was recently listening to Swamiji. He was saying that long ago, many years ago, he was thinking about how can he describe this music? If he can put it in a way to describe it, because he didn't want to call it my music, because he never, as we know, Swamiji never felt anything was his. He always felt he was just a pure channel, sharing Master's teachings, Master's vibration. He couldn't call it fun, because we all know it's much more than that. He couldn't call it only spiritual, because there are also some music which is very light and very cheerful. So, and he came to the answer on meditating on it. One word to describe his music was clarity. And when we think about it, when we get into this reading, as it suggests today, the chitta, when the feelings of the heart are calm, we feel clear all of a sudden, because the energy is moving upwards. Our thoughts become clear. We become clearer. And there was a dear friend, Narayani. All of you know her, probably. Most of you do. And I remember having this conversation with her a few weeks ago, and I've been keeping this in my mind, her answer. So I wanted to share it with you all. And I was like, okay, so Narayani, what do you think about this? I had this big question to ask her. And her answer was, I feel whatever the answer was. And for one, I was thrilled by the answer, because it was very clear. It was a solution. It was a forward-moving answer for me. But more than that, what struck me was I had said to her, what do you think about this? And her answer was, I feel. And she just had the solution right there. And so again, it's coming into the feeling behind rather than, going beyond the intellect of sorts. And in the book, Swamiji explains, he gives the example of a child. And I think we can all relate to that, even as adults, how when a child gets something they like and then they're jumping up and down, and I can relate to that even now. And then, I'm sure many of us, and then when they don't get something they want, they start stomping their feet and all the spirit is gone down. And it's that up and down energy. That's what the chitta, when it's raffle, we're trying to get away from that, trying to still that. And he gives even another very beautiful example of the rowboat. And if it's out in the ocean, if it's just moving in the waves up and down, it can't even see. Someone sitting in that boat won't even be able to see something that's very still on the beach, which is right there, because you're kind of bouncing up and down. And so similarly it is with our feelings of the heart, and how do we get beyond this? And if you remember, when Swamiji first met Master, and he went to him and he said, I read your book, and Master asked him, and how did you like it? And he said, it was wonderful. And Master replied to him, it's because I put my vibrations in it. And again, when we think of reading a book, I never thought of feeling vibrations behind it. So everything has that underlying feeling. And it's up to us as we come on this path to try to understand, how do I bring that personal connection, how do I form that heart connection with the divine, with God? And that's why we have these teachings. That's why we have sadhana. It's to constantly re-inspire ourselves, to open our hearts, to train our hearts almost to open. As we sang this song, one of the lines in the song is, teach my heart to impart everywhere your delight. And so it is true that when we start meditating, when we start feeling these teachings, these vibrations, then you want to impart that. You feel that delight in yourself, and all you want to do is just share that. And I think as we begin to become more and more clear, calm our feelings, calm that chitta, the candle flame that when we're out in traffic, when we're in a mall, it's ruffled, it blows. But you come here, it's calm, it's steady. When we meditate at home, when we practice these teachings, it's calm, and that's what we're looking for. And I think as we begin to steady and calm our feelings, we find our freedom from there. So.
Some of you may have noticed that today I cut my hair. And it's funny because the last few times that I've been going to the barber shop or whatever you call the salon, always something happens. And this time I went to a different one, and I was listening to the music they were playing. And usually when I go to a place, very rarely I enjoy the music they're playing, restaurants or whatever. Recently we were in Goa, and the music that they play there is pretty bad. It's very, very, party kind of music. But usually I tune it out, but this time I say, okay, well, we are talking about feeling, let me feel a little more. And oh my God. It was very funny because there was a song that was saying, and the music is going down, down, down. I don't know which song is this. And I say, oh, my energy is going down, down, down also. But anyway, it was very, very interesting thing to do. And but also yesterday, and Shamini can testify to this, that I was listening to some music that was not from Swami Kriyananda. Now, it's very rare that I listen to music that is not from Swamiji, but I also enjoy some other classical pieces sometime. And especially, my weak point is because some of you may know, but I have kind of samskars of the past. Like I relate more to the medieval world than to this world. Like I'm a little bit Kali Yuga, you could say. But, and I was into some music that really brought me back there, that kind of awakened those samskars that I really feel I have very much. And I listened only to 2 pieces, but immediately this strong feeling of sadness for the past came to me, something else, something there. And I realized, wow, my heart was very, very disturbed just by listening to that sort of music. And then I played a couple of Swamiji's melodies before going to sleep. All of this was before going to sleep, which is, in a way, the worst time to do that. But I was listening to, I put 2 pieces of Swami that I enjoy very much, Woodland Devas and Emerald Isle from the Mystic Harp CD. And, when I listen to music, I try to really listen to the music, not just, sometimes I do other things, but sometimes I really want to just listen and be touched by it. And it was amazing how the music, it didn't manage to convert it into joy, but the feeling of sadness became more a feeling of longing for something, longing for the divine, which there was still a little bit of sadness in a way, but it was in a different way. And that music had a tremendous power to change the way my feeling was working. And so it is that we are exposed all the time to kinds of music, even at home. Sometimes we may listen to music that is not from our path, and don't think that only because it's quote spiritual, as Shami was saying, there are many kinds of spiritual music, doesn't mean that it's safe. Doesn't mean that it's a classical music is safe also. And how you can guide yourself is by that. What is your heart telling you? Is it making it restless in a way? Is that sadness that you feel longing? Is it, just pure sadness? What it is. And so it is that that's really what we have to do with everything in life. That really Swamiji used to say that calmness is what can tell you if something, paraphrasing of course, is divine or not divine. Even in your meditation, you may be feeling something. You may be feeling some kind of guidance, some kind of intuition. Maybe you are having some spiritual experience. And he will say, is your heart calm? Are your feelings calm? If they are calm, and that means that it is a true experience. Whereas it's all, shaken up, probably it's something coming from the subconscious or something else that is trying to come to you. And it's our job to maybe put those things aside and go be guided by that calmness. And, when we think about the chitta and all that, we immediately, most people, I think of Patanjali, the Yoga Sutra, Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And in this path, we put so much importance about, overcoming the ego, which is, of course, the goal. But Patanjali didn't say yoga's ahankar vritti nirodha. He used that word feeling. That ego in itself, as we know, is not such a bad thing in the way that even a master needs to have a little bit of ego to realize that they have a body and they had to take care of it, if that much. And they had to relate to this world, so they need a minimal amount of ego consciousness. Of course, the ego is very different, and our ego is completely free and doesn't create any karma. It doesn't create any ripples in the ocean, you could say. And it's amazing how, if you see, even people who are guided by the intellect, most of all, you will see that when there is something wrong, even though they may be giving you these perfect intellectual reasons and schematic things, you can see that they are not being intellectual, they are actually being emotional. That the feelings really is what can bring us down or up. And it's all about that feeling, that it is when our feeling is filtered through the ego, that we relate the feelings to ourselves through the ego, that it becomes bad. That is when it becomes dangerous, and we start developing these desires, these attachments, these likes and dislikes, and that's what we have to be careful. But it is very important that we all develop the heart. Some people may be afraid to develop the heart because they may start becoming emotional, they may start becoming attached, and yes, we all go through that. And when we go through that, we suffer, so we learn. So it is not that bad in a way. So we really need to. But opening the heart is very, very important. And as I was talking about this, even music can be something to help you calm your chitta and all that. And yes, of course, we always talk about meditation, Kriya Yoga, and all those things, so I will not mention them now. But I just wanted to conclude with one thing that Swamiji said that to me is very touching and very helpful. He said, use, and again I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but use remembrance. That always remember that whenever you let go of some desire, whenever you let go of some attachment, whenever you're able to control yourself from going in a certain way that, you knew it wasn't right, you felt a little more free, you felt a little more uplifted, a little more close to God. But whenever, in the other hand, you were not succeeding, whenever you let desires take hold of you, you felt more bound. You felt that your heart was a little more closed, perhaps. You were not able to feel joy. And that remembrance of our past, not dwelling on it in a certain way, but just remembering that when we did these things, it brought us joy. When we did these things, it brought us bondage. It's a very powerful weapon, because all the time we are doing things that are not so good, or maybe some good, we are coming up with some decisions. So those two things, remembrance and calmness, are extremely important for us to try to overcome this chitta. Because in the end, it is only when our heart is calm that we are able to feel the divine. It's only when our heart is calm that we can really commune with God. And it is really when our heart is calm that our mind also will be calm. As long as we are having those desires or those agitations of the heart, our mind is just going to keep going in circles, around and round, through everything. And you see it in everybody. It's a law that never fails. So let us use all these tools that they have given us, but also add these tools to your arsenal. Whenever you're feeling a certain way, put some of Swamiji's music. Listen to it very intently and see what effect it has on you. And use that tool also of remembering all those things that have uplifted you in the past and path also, and use them to overcome every challenge, to overcome every desire, because when those desires are gone, then we are free. Om.